Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's a beautiful June 12th, 2024. Come at the Crusty podcast, episode 291. Europe goes right and Canada keeps going down. The outrage of our prime minister discussing the whole political shift going on in Europe right now as we speak. Everyone's going right, and Justin wants to cry in his oatmeal. Oh, the poor guy. All that more come up to the show. Please stick around. Listener viewer discretion is advised because I do swear and I might smoke a cigarette, and I might swear a lot. Cheers. See you in a bit.
Hit it, sweetheart. Because I am hard, you will not like me.
Yes, sir.
There is no racial bigotry here. Here you are all equally worthless.
From Western Canada, this is the Crusty Canuck podcast, a Canadian veteran's point of view on political, social, economic issues and life. Here's Crusty.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Crusty Canuck podcast, episode 291. This podcast is also brought to you in part by and supported by the fine people at Veterans for Freedom. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, Veterans for Freedom. Stand 2, Veterans for Freedom, and coming soon, Veterans for Freedom TV. That's right. Look for my ugly mug and other mugs there. Coming soon on the internet, Veterans for Freedom TV. Hi, everybody. I'm Crusty Canuck. Pardon my absence last night. We had a big thunderstorm, so there was a bit of a power shortage, and I had some trouble getting computer up and running in due time because, I work, dark, stupid. So I have to try to get everything done and try to get everything ready for you all, and time constraints and everything. So my apologies. So I'm here tonight to give you another episode of the show. If you're liking here to see, please click like and subscribe. Do not hesitate to share this podcast all over your social media platforms too. Thank you once again to my new subscribers there on Rumble and on YouTube. Awesome. Thank you very much. Some new Americans have downloaded my show on the Podbean application too. I've noticed I had some more people from California and Georgia download. So thank you very much. Thank you very much from the Great White North. So as I said, Europe goes right and Canada keeps going down. So I didn't put any title cards up today because I'm having some trouble with my little thumbnail maker and all that good stuff too. So basically, I'm just going to keep it simple. See my mug, see the logo, and I'll just tell you what the episode is. Yeah. So European elections. I guess a lot of the major European powers, Italy, Spain, France, and Germany, have voted for quote unquote far right parties, right? For the European Parliament. So that being said, what's that going to tell you about Europe? Now, there's been speculation on the major news networks, CNN, CBC, CTV, ABC, NBC, our American friends and Canadian friends alike, discussing the whole impact on Canada and the whole impact on the Western world, because a lot of European people are getting pissed off the way things are going. Now, Europe has had its issues with mass immigration, crime wave, inflation, cost of living, especially when you look at the immigration that's coming into Britain and France when they're young, able-bodied men between the ages of 18 and 30. And they're all young men from different countries. It's not like you're seeing family upon family migrating here, migrating there. Just a lot of able-bodied young men that are getting into things in Europe. And there's been a lot of European speculation over the past couple of years in regards to why is there such an influx of young men coming to these countries, right? Now, Europe has their problems too when it comes to economic uprise and economic downfall. They have their issues too when it comes to housing, cost of living, necessities of life. Just recently, the Greek prime minister come to Canada looking for fossil fuels, i.e. LNG. So did Japan and so did Germany about a year and a half ago. And of course, our prime minister turned them all away because it didn't make a good business sense. Okay. So we have an abundance of fossil fuels in this country, third largest on the planet. Okay. Third largest on the planet. Okay. And our leadership doesn't want to sell them any because it doesn't make good business sense. Interesting. And, because the plight of the world, because the state of the world, people are asking Canadians for assistance. People are asking Canadians for LNG. Our government says it's not a good business model. So what's that tell you about our leadership, ladies and gentlemen? What does that tell you about our leadership? Really? They don't even give a shit. So I'm going to play a video here from a David Creighton, independent journalist, veteran, who assesses the whole Trudeau's Trudeau's little spiel about polarization and everything. And you think for yourselves, ladies and gentlemen, the way I look at the European model, if it wasn't for Europe, you wouldn't have a North America. You know, if it wasn't for things like the Roman Empire, you wouldn't have a Europe. That's just my historical hypothesis for you all out there, right? So when you look at the way the world's changing, it's changing for the good, I think. Now, I'm not far right, nor am I far left. I'm not really a centrist either, I'm more libertarian. You do you, I do me, and everything's good, okay? But when you look at countries like Germany, economic and manufacturing powerhouse, same as France, same as Italy, same as Spain, they all have their things they contribute to the union. Now, I don't agree with having a European Union, but I do agree with having sovereignty rights. I do believe in protecting your borders. I do believe in protecting what's right for your nation. If you elect an individual to stand up for your country and what those countries' values are, then you should be good to go, you would think. But the past 5, 6, 10 years, we've seen an imbalance of people coming and going. We've seen an unbalance of crime. We've seen a total unbalance of, well, it's immigration in general. And I'm not blaming immigration. Don't get me wrong. If you want a better life and you know a place where you can go to a better country and then do it, so do it. But we all heard the stories about what happened in Germany there a few years back on New Year's Eve, where a lot of young women were assaulted. We heard about no-go zones in parts of Britain and parts of France. You know, we heard about boatloads upon boatloads of people coming over, getting cell phones, getting money, getting accommodations in some pretty high-class places, and people getting shifted, people being told what to say, what not to say, because if you say anything against this, you're deemed as a racist, or you're deemed as a bigot, or deemed as, you know, a nationalist. When the truth is that these countries want to look after themselves. They don't mind being humane. They don't mind helping people out. They don't mind giving the extra dollar or two here and there. But it's coming a time where people are saying, okay, when are we going to look after ourselves? When are we allowed to look after who we are? When can Italy look after Italy? When can Germany look after Germany? When can France look after France? When can Spain look after Spain? When can Britain look after Britain? When can Holland look after Holland? And when can Belgium look after Belgium? And all those other countries too. Poland had some great turnouts, apparently, as well as the Germans had some great turnouts when it comes to EU elections, right? You're not going to call them the big N-word now, are you? Of course not. People are standing up. People are starting to wake up to certain things here, right? And I'm all for immigration when it's done properly, meaning that, okay, can we afford to bring certain individuals in? And what do they have to offer? What can they contribute to our society? What can they do? What skills do they have? You know, things like that. We should be looking at things like that, honestly, especially when it comes to certain crime waves, what's been going on too, right? Here in Canada, they talk about shootings, they talk about crime and how they're getting tough on guns, but they bother legitimate legal gun owners. They don't go after the street thugs. And if they do end up capturing and incarcerating a few street thugs, they basically get released on bail again and again and again. And you look at any major newspaper in this country, they'll have tons of stories of people that were caught shooting this, caught doing that, and they're released on bail before for something similar. So you're seeing the contrast, and Europe, I think, is going to be the stepping stone for that, and it's going to start waking a lot of people up, which I think is a great thing, because Canada really needs to wake up right effing now.
Stay updated and follow Crusty Canuck on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, YouTube, and Podbean. Subscribe today and donate at crustycanuck.ca.
And you're back, ladies and gentlemen, the Crusty Canuck Podcast, episode 291. Europe goes right and Canada keeps going down. So I'll play a video there for you from a David Creighton. He's got a great channel on YouTube there. He's been back and forth in the United States and Canada. He's been on many of mainstream media, and he's also been on a lot of American online shows too. Basically spilling his guts, speaking his mind, and he's an excellent journalist. So I'll cue that up for you shortly. Just a reminder, too, if you like and hear what you see, please click like, subscribe, share this podcast, love your social media platforms. Do not be shy, ladies and gentlemen. And if you want to donate to the show, please consider donating. Links in the description, and I'll have my source material in the description for you all, too. So I'll just queue up this video. And like I say, ladies and gentlemen, you guys decide. We're not seeing enough of that. And you can see how the mainstream media is catching on to a lot of interesting things when it comes to our government thus far, especially in light of this gathering. Excuse me. In light of this gathering that's been happening, this information boost in regards to the infiltration in our parliament, how many MPs have actually been questioned? And according to Elizabeth May, there isn't too many MPs that are on this list, according to her. But I'll get to that probably on Friday's episode. We'll talk about that. But like I say, here's David Crichton's story on that.
This is my article in the Post Millennial. I wish that had been my headline. That's not the one I submitted, but it's better than the one I submitted. Justin Trudeau suggests democratically elected right-wing politicians in EU elections, that's European Union elections, are a threat to democracy. That's just one of the ironies, if you will, or the hypocrisies of what Justin Trudeau said about the EU elections. And of course, he dragged out the usual nonsense about populism being this grave danger to democracy, even though populism is democracy. And how can you say it's a threat to democracy when these people were elected democratically? But we'll get into his statement, actually, because I talked about this quite a bit yesterday, and how these European Union elections were a complete repudiation of three things: globalism, the war in Ukraine, stop funding the war in Ukraine, stop sending billions, and climate change. Stop the climate change hysteria. The Green Party got demolished all over Europe in these elections. And Marine Le Pen's party in France, which is not exactly far right, it's conservative populist, it's anti-mass immigration, it's anti-climate change hysteria, it's anti-war in Ukraine. Let's stop the war before everybody dies. That's what we had to do in the First World War. Everybody was just about dead on both sides. And had things kept it going, the United States would have probably been in the same position, because it was a war without end. And this is what's happening in Ukraine. So let's listen to what Justin Trudeau had to say about the EU elections. Typical hypocrisy.
We have seen around the world a rise of populist right-wing forces in just about every democracy that we've seen. And it is of concern to see political parties choosing to instrumentalize anger, fear, division, anxiety. My approach has always been to respond to it, to understand it, and to look to solve it, to roll up our sleeves, work hard, and with ambition for this country and for our future. And I continue to be convinced that Canadians are thoughtful about the challenges we're facing and ready to see them solved, rather than just allow themselves to be have their anger amplified without any solutions offered.
My approach has always been, what has your approach always been? To roll up your sleeves, he says, and to get on and understand people? No, your approach, Justin Trudeau, is to call the police when people disagree with you, to have heads crushed, to have people thrown in prison, and then to go over to Europe and say how dangerous it is that the European Union is electing these whole populists. Even though it's democratic, it's not democratic because it's anti-democratic. He doesn't know what he's talking about or what he's even mean. And Justin Trudeau's approach is to be authoritarian and not democratic. Justin Trudeau's approach is not to try to understand his political opponents. Justin Trudeau's approach is to tar his political opponents as misogynist, as racist, sometimes even Nazis. Justin Trudeau's approach is to demonize his political opponents as people not even worthy of rational thought discussion, of not even worthy of his thoughts, because these people are just beyond the pale. Justin Trudeau's approach is to suggest that if you're not on his side, you don't matter at all. And to hell with you, we'll find a jail cell for you. That's Justin Trudeau's approach. And he has the gall to tell reporters yesterday that he's so concerned that people are electing people he doesn't like or he doesn't agree with. This is not democratic, he says, even though it's a democratic election. And this is just not right because these people aren't interested in actually dealing with problems. Well, maybe they're not interested in dealing with problems the way Justin Trudeau deals with them, which is to incarcerate people and to bring down the full force of the state against you, or to call you names, or to take away your free speech with the Online Harms Act. But maybe they have a better idea. Thank you for watching this episode of Stand on Guard and being a part of the Creighton's Right channel. If you've watched this episode to this point, you've watched it all. And that's really important for a small station like this.
And that was David Crichton, ladies and gentlemen, independent journalist extraordinaire. Nice guy. You know, I've heard him talk before, so I'll leave a link there to the whole video for your viewing pleasure, ladies and gentlemen. And I'll leave more links to another story I'll be reading here too. So with that being said, it's amazing how they're cringing in their boots. Polarization. And he's right. It is part of democracy, you know, and the populism. Oh my God, populism. It's all part of democracy. It's all part of it. Every time a news cycle comes around, you're going to have a bunch of people that are vying for the popular party. Okay. Now, the Liberals are trying to make this sound like it's some kind of big Nazi takeover. It's not. Okay. Every one of those countries I mentioned want to stand up for themselves, want to be sufficient, want to find some regularity, some normalcy back in their lives again without worrying about their dollar, worrying about the jobs, worrying about homes. They want to look after things again, and they want to put a hold on some really stupid things. And there's nothing wrong with immigration, but there comes a time where you got to put your foot down, and especially when it comes to wars too. You know, how many more countries have to support the Ukraine? How many more countries have to support these proxy wars? How many more countries have to get involved with someone else's dirty fucking laundry? You know, and it puts a lot of things in perspective, ladies and gentlemen. I guess you can say it's almost turning into some kind of great awakening. Interesting.
Stay updated and follow Crusty Canuck on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, YouTube, and Podbean. Subscribe today and donate at crustycanuck.ca.
And you're back to the podcast, ladies and gentlemen, episode 291. Wow, 291 episodes. God, and I'm still not making any money. Go figure. Anyway, that's not a plug. That's not a hint. That's just, you know, a fact of life, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, episode 291, Crusty Canuck podcast for this 12th of June, 2024. Europe goes right, Canada keeps going down. So here's a story from Keen Bexty from his own page, The Counter Signal. And I'll read along too. It just goes to show where all the money is going again in this country. Not only do we have to deal with the foreign interference and the so-called top secret file that apparently Elizabeth May, have another glass of rye, Elizabeth, drink, claims that there's no MPs on this list apparently. But if there's no MPs in this list, why is it top secret? Interesting. Wouldn't you say? Yeah, exactly. Self-explanatory. Just a lot of bullshit, a lot of deflection. But here's the story from Keen Bexty. In regards to the $1 billion slush fund, okay, that Pierre Poilievre has discovered that the Liberals have been using. You know, $1 billion slush fund. Interesting. There's a lot of things that can be done with those $1 billion, right? But yes, it comes from Counter Signal. Keen Bexty used to work for Rebel Media. RCMP to receive all files on Trudeau's $1 billion green fund. That's right. Following a successful conservative motion, the RCMP will receive all documents on Trudeau's $1 billion green fund, which has been marked by scandal and stinks of corruption. Well, that's self-explanatory, right? Following a successful conservative motion, yeah, I already read that too. The latest news comes from just days after the fund was closed down, following Auditor General Karen Hogan's report found Sustainable Development Technology Canada, SDTC, violated conflict of interest. Okay. Of interest policies 90 times and awarded 59 million to 10 ineligible projects that lied about potential environmental benefits. Okay. Oh, they're not gonna make me sign this up. This story was open before. Okay, my apologies, ladies and gentlemen. My apologies. Needless to say, what I will do is I'll still leave this link for the story. You've got to sign up to this page. I'm sorry. I swore it looked just like a free column. Anyhow, from what I've read from other stories, basically the RCP is going to quote unquote look into the matter, investigate the matter, but you know as well as I do that it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen because how many people are sitting on the Liberal backbench that work for the RCMP? Interesting, eh? Right? I could go on for hours. And the thing is, I personally know some Mounties, okay, that I played hockey with, that I hung out with, a couple of those Mounties that I know I served with in Afghanistan. So I can tell you from the conversations we've had, Remembrance Day and in passing back and forth, they're not really pleased with the way things are going on. So if there's anybody out there who dislikes every Mountie, not all of them are bad. Okay. I know I can vouch for a few of them and they're pretty good guys. You know, they're family men. They're straight on the narrow. They do their job. They do it efficiently. And they're not going to hunt down people with guns either too, because they're gun owners themselves. So that speaks for itself, ladies and gentlemen. But you're seeing where we're heading down. Now, you see where we're going. You see what's happening. Okay. We're going down to a pathway that's being lit up left and right. Okay. I don't mean the political sense. I mean, you're going to find some information here. You're going to find some information there. You're going to find more and more people coming to the woodwork and blowing the whistle saying, hey, they did this back in 2016. Hey, they did this back in 2018. So I think this is a positive thing, ladies and gentlemen. You're finding more and more of these details about these funds and these little groups, right? A year ago, I did a show about the 11 MPs that might have been influenced by the Chinese communists, not the Chinese people, the Chinese communists. Okay. So what's that tell you? Things are starting to find the light. We are starting to find the light in this manufactured darkness, and it's glorious. It is bloody glorious. But still, you know, reach out a hand to shake, but still carry a big stick behind your back. You know what I mean? Just in case. I'm not saying someone's going to pull a fast one, but who knows? There's still another week and a half of Parliament before they sit for the summer. You know, more fucking holidays for those ass clowns. But still, who knows what's going to happen out of the woodwork, right? Who knows what they're going to find? If they actually do find something in this $1 billion file, who knows? But it's still a debacle, right? Right? We both know that green technology isn't going to happen overnight. But the way these ass clowns keep claiming that weather is terrible and, oh my God, we got a heat wave coming, let us remind them, and it's called summer. And in parts of the country, it might be hotter than other parts. It might be cooler than other parts. Needs to say, it's bloody summer. Eh? It is bloody summer. And it's glorious too. Summertime is fantastic. You want to know why? Because you can go to the beach, go to a lake, and do some fishing, do some camping, you know, cook outside, look at the sky, enjoy some things, enjoy some sporting events, amusement parks, spend some time, good quality time with your family and loved ones, and just enjoy your life, because it was a pretty shitty winter, you know, especially here in Alberta. We had those record temperatures, and the previous government figured that it was okay to rely 8% of our grid on wind and batteries and solar. But they'll never do that again, will they? No, of course not. They know better. But you see where we're going here. So on today's episode, it's more of a positive note. I feel a little more positive, I feel a little more charged. What do you think, my wonderful audience? You gorgeous people out there, what do you think? Let me know. Send me a comment. Give me a thumbs up. If you see this on the tube later tonight, please give me a thumbs up. Give me a comment too, especially my live debut. My rumblers out there, thank you once again to my new rumbling accounts, my new subscribers, sorry. Right? I'm still getting the odd emails saying, oh, let me help you with this. Let me help you with that. Delete, delete, delete. No, I'll say it again. If you want to engage me and have a conversation with me, you're more than welcome to. But the moment you comment on my profile and you want to sell me something, not going to buy it. Just going to delete you. Shit simple. Anyhow, ladies and gentlemen, I've been Crusty Canuck on this beautiful 12th of June, 2024. That's all the rambling I'm going to do for tonight. I will be back this Friday with another episode too. I've got some extra yard work again to do this weekend, but I will have a regular schedule, hopefully Friday and Sunday this time. Just the way things are going. Like I say, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the grid. I don't know. Just sometimes my microphone gets a little queasy. My soundboard seems to be operating okay. I downloaded some new files for it, so it should be all right. But we'll see. Time will tell. But needless to say, ladies and gentlemen, I will have another episode up come this Friday and Sunday, too, for your listening pleasures. Oh, you're too kind. You're too kind. Too kind. And we'll probably dwell into more of this whole international interference that's affecting our parliament as we speak, ladies and gentlemen. But like I always say, summertime is coming, so don't forget to hydrate. Do what you can, help you out in these trying times. Help your neighbors out. Just try to be good to people, ladies and gentlemen. That's all we can ask for, really. If we can't win the good fight, then let's just stand our ground nonetheless and do our best to set a better example to those clowns in Washington and Ottawa. Right? Like I said, I've been Crusty Canuck on this beautiful 12th of June, 2024. I wish good things for you all out there. I want you to be happy. I want you to be prosperous. And I want everyone to thrive, regardless of color, creed, gender, or however you identify. It doesn't faze me at all. Just do your best to be good to people, and the rewards will come to you in due time. And like I always say, ladies and gentlemen, humanity and merit wins the day. Take care, and I'll see you Friday. Bye for now.
Hit it, sweetheart. Because I am hard, you will not like me. Yes, sir. There is no racial bigotry here. Here you are all equally worthless.
This has been another episode of the Crusty Canuck podcast. Stay sane and thank you for listening. From Western Canada, this is the Crusty Canuck podcast.
To my brothers and sisters, I never forget. Who up?